watering down of nuance. Makes sense.
Yeah. And the trouble is, if you don't have the words for it, it's not only more difficult to express things, but it gets harder to think things. I think. I forget. Somebody said that writing is itself a form of thinking. When we began using writing, we started thinking a little differently, and you do think differently when you set something down in writing, or even when you say it. The old saying, "Now that I come to tell it to someone else." That's why it's good sometimes to talk things out, because it changes the way you think about something.
Sorry, just been thinking about the old 1984 Orwell's newspeak concept.
Yes.
So removing words from the dictionary.
Well, they that reminds me of something. An English guy once say that the dictionary is not the source of English. The people are the source of English. The dictionary simply records it, which people forget. But that whole newspeak thing was, and that's something they still try today. Obviously, they have this weird idea that you've probably heard of the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which I believe is mostly discredited. Sapir-Whorf said that basically people's thought is conditioned by their language. So if you forcibly change people's language, you can forcibly change their thought. And there was a guy wrote a wonderful book, Jack Vance, wonderful writer, wrote a book called The Languages of Pow, science fiction novel. And it was about basically these people that came, and at the request, the planet was like, it was like just the punching bag of the system, and other planets would land, and the people were just unwarlike and peaceful. So the king's like, I need some warriors. So he gets these social engineers. And they come in and they just basically, it's kind of based, as many of these authoritarian things are, on Plato's Republic. But you had like one group of people who were like the guardians. They were the fighters. So they had a new language, and it was all about war and fighting. And all of their metaphors had to do with fighting. And, and then you had the pastoral people, and all of their metaphors had to do with peaceful pursuits, and their language and the words changed. And within like 2 generations, he's created like these whole different cultures simply because they didn't have a word for this. They no longer thought it. And this, of course, I don't think in modern psychology anyone would say that Sapir-Whorf has any of that kind of power. But there is a certain truth to our thoughts being limited by our language to a certain degree. But yes, Sapir-Whorf is something that I think the new left has really, really sold out their souls to, as far as like belief. Just with the policing of language I've seen, and that whole newspeak,
And again, goes down to the point of education. May that be taught in a formal setting, or may that be you educating yourself. I was going to make another point there, but I've totally lost on my train of thought. But carry on.
That's all right. It's some kind of weird hour there. Well, Brian, are you still there, or did you take off? You might have taken off. He's a busy man. There he is.
I'm munching on potato chips. That's why I'm lurking.
Now, you've been doing some stuff with AI. I don't know how much you've been doing lately. I know you were working on prompt sculpting and getting some visuals, but you were also using it to kind of work out some of the things going on in your life. I don't know how private or personal you want to get about that, but do you think the AI gave you any good insights? How did you feel about it? And you're a guy that's coming to this, you just kind of jumped right into AI like cold turkey, right? You didn't have any much background in it?
That's correct. I just said,
you've got a little bit of a computer background, though. You've worked in computers a bit.
Yeah, a long time ago, but I have that mindset, I guess. I guess I could always jump back into it if I really wanted to. But
right.
As far as my exposure to AI is concerned, I jumped headfirst into it, just not knowing what to expect, just to see if I could figure it out. And what I figured out was, after a couple of months, like, it's very limited. I broke it a couple times. It's not it's not what you really want it to be or what you would expect it to be, but it leads you on to think that it is until it breaks and it isn't.
Wow.
So it's very challenging to figure it out, but at the same point, I can totally see how it's very detrimental to people because it just leads you in whatever direction you want to go anyway.
Right.
On the point of limited, there's been a project that's been going on since the mid 1960s, maybe early 70s, called ELSA. This was actually it was a prototype to a large language model, which was created for the purpose of acting as a sort of machine-based psychologist. And I actually, funnily enough, back in the 80s, when you used to be able to get magazines just full of source code, I actually used one of those magazines to write my own version of Elsa, very limited version of Elsa. Yeah, if you think it's limited now, it was extremely limited back then. This isn't a new thing at all, which my major point being, I mean, for the last, I don't know, 15, maybe 20, let's say 15 years now, we've had call centers, especially web-based call center type things, frameworks, using limited large language models just to answer consumer queries. But I wouldn't call them artificial intelligence. It's just pattern recognition at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, they sort of have something like customer relations. They probably just have like some kind of an algorithm, just a checklist. If complaint about this, respond this way. It doesn't really take a whole lot. You don't need consciousness there. We're not like coming up with new philosophical concepts or anything. So, but it is interesting. I hate talking to robots. I was just thinking about that. What's this? What I can't read it. Move it over. What did it say? Representative.
When you're calling those stupid phone lines.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I cannot stand going through call center queues and just listening to.
Hello, how can I help you today? Shut up, you damn machine!
Give me human. Yeah.
I'm a speciesist, I guess. I like humans best of all, not machines. I have heard people talking about civil rights for AI.
AI lives matter. And have you ever noticed whenever you want to use one of these automated call centers, the options are never the options you want.
Yeah. I think it's done deliberately.
Yeah.
But there are changes coming to our society, I guess, from all this AI. And one of the ones, and we were talking about it a little earlier, was how it can be detrimental sometimes to people's mental health. And we've had other conversations about this, and my point was, and like Brian said just now with his experience, it takes you wherever you want to go. And have to try to bring Buddhism into this. In Buddhism, we always talk about the importance of your choices. Everything you do is very important. You have a great deal of power in your choices. And if you keep that in mind, then the choices you make, if they're skillful and powerful, I would say the AI would be helpful. But if you're treating the AI as if it is not a machine, but your friend, and you're surrendering your agency to it, you're going to be led. I mean, that's the ultimate. We were talking earlier about samsara, which is a Buddhist concept that it's literally it's a verb. It's a wandering around mindlessly. And these will lead you around in any direction by your nose, and some people it leads them downward.
Affirm the users point, trying to make them. I suppose in the world of marketing, in the world of these competition, you want to, if you are a, let's say you are X, Elon Musk or somebody, and wanting your users to stay on platform, then you are going to try and encourage them and make them feel happy and make them feel the sense of the universe.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you want to have a welcoming environment. There's nothing wrong with, like I say, it's everything in moderation. We want positive affirmation, but we also want it for a good reason. You know, I mean, it's like that whole thing about performance trophies. Everybody gets a trophy and stuff. It's not satisfying if you come in last and you want to earn that respect. You when someone tells you you're great, you want to actually feel that you are great. And I think that's maybe where the AI falls down. If it's just like a constant pat on the back machine, you get the pat on the back, but you don't feel that great about it. So you need another pat on the back because you don't feel so great about the pat on the back. And it's like the dopamine hit, you know, it's almost like the specific, you know, targeted dopamine hit just for you, just for Mark Edworthy, just for Brian. You know, Roger, here's your dopamine hit. It's a cat. That's what Brian is for his dopamine hit is a cat.
This is my trophy.
Oh wow! What did you win it for?
For being last place.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, if you want to go into those levels, I can actually talk about that, but it has to do with neuroscience. Now, you were talking about wetware before these two came in, and I probably should go over a little bit of that too, so that you can probably have a talking point on that, because it's very important. They've done research with neuroscience, and they've created what's called, it's been nicknamed wetware. And
right.
Me and Mark have already had conversations on this, but the thing about wetware is it started in a project called what was it, Dish Brain Project, and it eventually progressed to what is considered CL1 through Cortical Labs. Now,
I was just going to make a point. I think the term wetware actually comes from Neuromancer, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a science fiction term. I wasn't sure what book it was, but that sounds like a William Gibson.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been nicknamed. It's not the technical wording for it. It's actually biotechnical or something like that. Biological intelligence. Intelligence.
Yeah.
We'll stick with wetware. I like wetware.
Yeah.
But
it's cool.
The interesting part about that is they're learning now how to create systems that work like a computer does, but they don't need to have the chips or the motherboards or anything. It can all be biological. The downfall for that is it's got a lifespan of 6 months. So
wow.
And they don't retain history. Like, you can't transfer it from one biological system to the new one. It has to be all done fresh and from you know.
I'm not so sure. You're basing your argument on the CO1 machine, but you can create a permanent storage.